Welcome to another interesting episode of This Week in Comics. This one feels like a regular This Week in Comics because it's the regular gang. It's myself, Ziggy, and Vito, and we're just going to be shooting the shit and talking about comics.
Hey, people.
Oh. Yeah. So, guys, it's been a while since we've done a regular This Week in Comics, right? Yeah. Because
I don't know if my memory serves me correct, but is this the first time where all three of us are in it?
I
yes,
think so. This
is the first time all three of us are on.
Like we've been planning this stuff for since last year, and then there's always something that happens where I can't go or Ziggy can't come along.
Yeah.
But it's nice to officially meet you, Ziggy.
Yep.
Right. Oh, we just
Trinity
moved.
has been formed.
Huh?
Trinity has been formed.
Yes. Right. This is the This Week in Comics Trinity. Myself, Ziggy, and Vito. So this is awesome. So this week in comics, cute. This week in comics, we actually have news. Other than just shooting the shit about comics, we actually have comic book news from the big from the major comic book distributors out there. For the major houses, we have news from Marvel, and we have news from DC. Marvel's news, I feel like, isn't really news anymore at this point. It's just something we're kind of used to from them, right?
They've literally done something like this every single year since 2012. So it's
Yeah,
not like
True.
it's
not news anymore.
It's like it's just expected now.
Right.
I'm curious about this one though. I have some little bit theories that we can discuss later.
This is what we're about to do right now. But anyways, let me just go ahead and intro it for you guys, so you guys can correct me if I'm wrong. So for the 559th time, Marvel is revamping or redoing their whole line. They're because earlier this year they did. Was it last year? Or at the end of last year or early this year?
Yeah. Legacy was
Legacy,
October, November.
Yes.
There's all new, Marvel all new. It's like, God, there's so many.
Yeah, so Legacy was them going back to the Legacy characters, going back to the original numbering with, and so that was what that was about. And so halfway through the year, we're not even halfway through the year yet, and or halfway through Legacy, and they've decided, what, since what's his name is gone now, is in DC. Bendis is in DC.
Michael Bendis.
Yes. And I think someone else left. So two people from their TV line.
Quesada.
Huh?
Yeah.
No, Quesada left.
Yes, Quesada left. So two people from their TV line.
Guys. Like their Jeff Johns just left.
Yeah. So and so people are coming back into the comic book world for them, and so they've decided to restart everything again. Like they're gonna restart. And there's a image they sent out though, for all new Marvel or all new Marvel now or some shit like that.
Oh, the new Marvel restart. I forget exactly what it is. Like we have it in my store. I forget what it's called.
The latest one?
Yeah, the name.
Yeah.
It's called
Fresh Start. That's it. Yep.
Wow.
Fresh Start.
So yeah, there's an image they put out though, and some of the characters are some of the older characters that we know. And now Fantastic Four is on there, or Thing, or is it all of the Fantastic Four is this Thing? So that's in my opinion, that's them saying, okay, the Fantastic Four is coming back. Miles is still on there though, even though Brian left, they're not gonna stop doing Miles. Is Riri isn't on there, right?
No, I think since the story is that she's just going back to MIT. I think her superhero days are done.
Okay, so she's pretty much over, but a lot of the newer characters that they started are still going to be there, except for maybe Jane Foster and some of the other ones. Sam Wilson, was Sam Wilson on there, or is he in flux?
To be honest, I didn't really see.
Yeah,
Sam Wilson went from Captain America to Falcon. I don't know if his Falcon title is still going.
Right. Wow, that's kind of harsh.
We'll see where that one goes. I'm enjoying that one. I feel like the story was limited by going back to Falcon. We'll discuss it later.
All right, cool. But yeah, so for was it fresh start? Marvel's new fresh start thing they're doing. I don't know how I feel about it yet, but I'm excited to see a thing on there that means Fantastic Four is coming back. That is actually what I'm more excited about with the whole thing. But that's
have you been reading Marvel 2-in-1?
I'm sorry, Marvel who?
Marvel 2-in-1.
No. Should I be?
That's that. I don't know. I have the first issue. I think they're like on number 3. I haven't been able to read it.
Okay.
But it's like, do you remember how what's it called?
Like
Lois and Clark was for while they like kind of meshed New 52 and also like Rebirth. Like
yes.
Same thing with like Titan Hunt.
Yes.
That's what they're saying this is gonna be like.
Oh.
So
okay.
they have Johnny Storm and then they have the Thing together. And that's their one.
So is it like because do you remember how not Legacy the book their big book before Legacy started
Generations?
Yes, Generations. What was the last one? Was it Legacy number 1 or 0 or some shit like that? Where it
was Legacy 1, yeah.
Yes, it was Legacy 1.
Big story.
Yes, it was. At the end of that, we saw Storm and the Thing together. Are you telling me they did just continue that story?
Looks like it. The fate, because the 2-in-1 is the Thing, Human Torch.
Mm-hmm.
The Fate of the Four is, I know, the title, like the like storyline name. So
right.
I know that's supposed to be. I assume if we're going to call it the Fate of the Four, it's going to lead us into a Fantastic Four.
Interesting.
But I think they're being real hush hush on what they want to do with the Fantastic Four. They're really like not there. It seems like they're making hints, but they really have not said what they want to do. They haven't been announced for the
It's like
start.
They're waiting for like the Fox deal to go through. So
yeah.
I really feel like that's what they're doing at this point. But anyways, so what do we think about Fresh Start? What do we think about the 700th new Marvel line they're gonna do right now at this point? Like, what do you guys think?
I appreciate. I actually am excited for this one for the simple fact that it's interesting. What the problem with the other Marvel restarts have always been is they restart the numbering, but the teams generally stay the same. Like we saw, like Slott continue to write Spider-Man for the bajillionth year. Bendis was on a lot of titles. I appreciate Bendis, but there's a lot of things he did not do well, like Guardians of the Galaxy. And there's been just like a lot of stagnation with I think Marvel. And what I'm wary of it, but I do like to see that they're doing a lot of different changes and they're giving a lot of like new, not necessarily new, but like writers and artists that have not been on a like title and a chance to give their interpretation. And that's always good to see, is like to try something new, because that's, if something's not working, you gotta do something. You can't just do the same thing over and over again.
Vito?
Yeah, the whole thing with, okay, so I get why they do the number ones.
Yeah.
Right.
I hate the number one fact. Yeah.
Yeah. The whole. They're trying to get money, but it in the end it ends up biting them in the ass, because they don't really start a new storyline. They just continue with whatever was going on beforehand, right? Because they keep the writers stay the same. So really, it isn't a true number one, because you're like, okay, so people buy number ones, especially if you're new to comics, because they want to just a jumping on point, where you can just be like, okay, I don't have to know anything else. I just got to know that number one, number two, number three, and everything's in sequential. I just got to know like the basic stuff about this character or whatever, right? But then if you're in the middle of a storyline like Mighty Thor, you would have to read from like the beginning, or the same thing with Miss Marvel. You're just like, what the hell's going on? I don't understand any of this. There's something already going on, and you can tell that all this is just for the money. And especially when I was thinking about later on, when I was like, why are they doing a whole fresh restart again, right? Then it clicked with me why they did Legacy, and it's because they just wanted to get the extra money that they can charge for like oversized anniversary issues, because a lot of characters are getting anniversary like landmark issues, like Spectacular Spider-Man just hit 300. Amazing Spider-Man is about to hit 800. Punisher, I think, is hit 300.
Yeah.
And so on and so forth. So I mean, of course, you can like make more money because you can the hundreds issues sell for like $7-8 or something like that. So I figured when they announced this, I was like, okay, so this whole thing about Legacy was just a quick cash grab, and they got me for it.
Hmm.
'Cause I
I
didn't.
think I agree. Like the legacy restart was poorly timed. Now, my curiosity, my like little like behind the scenes fan theory, like little thing is, I think it's like my thought process is I don't necessarily think that like this restart and this whole thing was necessarily like by the established names in Marvel. I think this was actually a Disney call. I think Disney has has heard the like the cries of people saying, "Well, Marvel has not been good for a while. They keep doing the same old thing, feel stagnant." And I think that's what like with the new editor in chief getting like basically with the new change. I think when Disney kind of made the call, they wanted to rehaul their whole Marvel like comics department. Um, and if that, I hopefully it works out because I want good comics across the board. But I do think it was just because of it, how Legacy just so happened. It feels real bad. It does feel poorly timed. And I think it's because the group before that had basically like was running the show did their Legacy, and then I think Disney made the call. They're like, hey, it's not working. Let's do something new. And so they kind of made their whole new chief. And that's what I was saying. Like a lot of the title lines are actually having new teams. Like Venom's taking over by Donny Cates, Jason Aaron's taking Avengers,
Lady
Ta-Nehisi
Coates.
is taking over Captain America, Mark Wade's taking over Doctor Strange, Al Ewing's getting Hulk. I think it's just basically what's happening is they want to try something new, and I think it's just been poorly timed. Oh, Dan Slott's on Iron Man. I think it's just poorly timed, and I think that's why it feels bad. Is because yeah, if you're in the middle of a storyline, it just this comes out of nowhere, and it does feel is there are some storylines I think are going to wrap out well because I think they're already headed to it. But I can see the storylines that were just in the middle, and those people are going to suffer the most. People who are in mid storyline and then they don't get an end, or their end doesn't happen, and they go from like 800 or 200 something to like number one, and then they have to like figure out what's going on. And if the team did change, they now have to feel like a whole dynamic, weird story shift and art change. So those people are going to be the people who suffer. I hope, like I said, these a lot of these do have new teams, and I'm excited because I do like the like writers and artists that have, and I got to see their kind of like growth, and I'm excited to see what they do with these characters. But for if you're trying to just be a reader, and if I'm like especially just trying to help people at the store that I work in, hey, so if you're reading Black Panther 161, it's at Black Panther #1 again. So have fun with that. It's gonna get real confusing. They like for people to like, yeah, because it's gonna happen. I know it's inevitable that people are gonna be like, hey, I want to start the Ta-Nehisi Coates Black Panther. I'd be like, okay, so you want to get this start, and it starts to #1, but then it jumps to 150 and something, but then it comes back to #1 about like 12 issues in. You're like, oh, I don't know if I want to do this.
Imagine the graphic novels.
Yeah, it's gonna get real confusing.
Have fun with that.
Yeah, it's gonna be real fun. Like I said, I'm hoping it's gonna be definitely a growing pains, but I'm hoping the law changes for the teams and will lead to some good stories. But we'll see. Only time can tell.
We'll see. Oh, well, I actually have nothing to add to that because Ziggy kind of put that really eloquent, like, and Vito said what I would have said, money grab and all that good stuff. But yeah. Besides that, so I want to talk about the DC change, but before I do that, right, I need to talk about this one really important thing real quick. So Jason Fabok a couple weeks ago tweeted out a picture for Superman, and he is sitting there in trunks, and I was like, at first I looked at it and I was like, wow, this is, I think that's for the 1000th Action Comics 1000, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so he tweeted that picture out, and I was like, so in my head, I'm like looking at it at first. I was like, this, something's off. And I looked at the picture and I was like, oh shit, trunks. I wanted to hate the trunks so bad. I wanted to hate it. Don't get me wrong. But I'm looking at this. I'm like, yo, this is Superman. This is like this is what I grew up with. Granted, when the new 52 shift happened, when they took the trunks away, it was like, oh my God, this is like grown up Superman. And they kept it without the trunks. But I want to ask you guys, how do you feel about the trunks maybe coming back, or maybe it's being teased? What do you think? If the trunks do come back, would you guys be okay with it, or just no trunks?
I mean, I think Superman's kind of lame anyway. So if you're gonna go lame,
Okay.
go full
So
on lame. Go get his trunks
by the
on.
way, I just muted everything you said so nobody heard it.
I think, but yeah, it's iconic. Get the trunks. It's iconic. To be his iconic self. Don't run away from what it is. Comic books are comic books. Go full and weird. It's what it is.
All right,
That's
Vito.
how I just feel.
Oh well, I really never cared for it. Like it didn't make me different. It doesn't make him it doesn't make him stronger. It doesn't make him weaker if he's wearing underwear on the outside of his pants. And to add on to that, Dan Jurgens said like the best line that I was like it make perfect sense. Where it's like he never, even when he drew Superman, he never viewed it as a separate article. It's always just like
Part of
one piece. Yeah,
Yeah, well, one.
like a
Yeah,
one
that's why I see it. Yeah, that's why I always saw it as.
So I was like, all right, fine with me. This whole thing of him wearing the underwear on the outside is completely like nullified in my head now.
You know what it is? You know what it is? I think I forget who said something. Either Jason said it or some other artist said something where with the new 52 suit change and the new suit that he's going on with now, it makes it harder to draw the abdomen. With the trunks, it wasn't that difficult because all you had to do was just
Right above.
Yes, that's it.
You knew where it ends. You knew where it ended. Yeah.
And now you have to actually put an abdomen in. So, it's kind of like a cheat code for artists. But to me, honestly, I am really excited about it. Vito sent a picture to me in the chat today. It was beautiful. It was, I think, the most beautiful picture, the most beautiful variant cover of Superman I've ever seen in my life. And I've seen a lot of them. But that one was just fucking pretty. And
even though it wasn't your boy Henry Cavill?
Look. When I met Brandon Routh, right? At that moment I saw him, he was Superman. I don't care whatever character. I don't care what he does now. He's always Superman. Like, look, if I meet Dean Cain, at the moment I meet Dean Cain, he's Superman. But when I meet Henry, I'll probably shit myself. So it doesn't even matter. But even though it wasn't my boy Henry Cavill, I really appreciated that picture you sent. It looked, you know what? That picture kind of looked like Tom Welling in a way, but you know what? It's whatever. He was like,
Reeve.
Huh?
Yeah.
What'd you say?
It was Christopher Reeve.
I
mean, it's literally.
I saw Tom Welling. Is what I'm saying. I saw Tom Welling, but it's Christopher Reeve. That's fine. R.I.P. Whatever.
To be fair, I think Christopher Reeves, young Christopher Reeves, and Tom Welling have similarities.
A similar look, early Tom Welling, not old Tom Welling now, like early Tom Welling. Yeah, it kind of looked, but yeah, I saw Tom Welling. Maybe again, I could have been tripping, but you might be right. But to be fair, Henry Cavill is Superman right now, but Superman for me, is Brandon Routh, man. I'm sorry. I'm going to offend a lot of people who are listening to this podcast, but seriously, Superman for me is Brandon Routh. That's it. Maybe because
I mean,
met him.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Maybe because I met him.
I met him. If you had met Tom Welling first, you'd be like, Tom Welling is all.
Yes, that would be my Superman. No, actually not, because Tom Welling never wore the suit.
He wears at the end, literally like the last
for
30 seconds of the show.
Exactly for the last
wait till you get like VIP passes to Austin Con and you get to meet him there.
Oh no, if I meet Henry,
no, Tom Welling.
Oh, if I meet Tom Welling, it's a wrap. My hands are gonna be sweaty. No.
And then you're gonna be like, this is Superman.
I'm just saying they missed out. If they would have put Tom Welling as Superman and Supergirl, I would have been into that show. I would have watched it.
Yes, I would have watched it. I would have watched it. Oh my god. But yeah, that's besides the point. I just wanted to talk about Trunks, so I'm cool with that.
You don't want to talk about Superman. You just want to bring up Superman somehow.
We are going to talk about him again, though. So, but before we get there, so DC, was it today? No, a couple weeks ago, I think, I don't remember what artist it was, but somebody teased, something they've been working on with DC and that it's going to shake the industry or going to shake DC. And today they finally talked about it. It's Black Label, DC's Black Label, which is going to be more artist led, and what I read about it. Apparently, this is a creator-led line that would feature works by Frank Miller, Brian Azzarello, Kelly Sue. Yeah, I'm not gonna try her last name, but yeah, these.
Conic?
Yeah. Thank you. I'll just say Kelly Sue and leave it there. Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo are gonna be, of course, they're gonna be writing Batman. Nobody cares. Greg Rucker is gonna be doing some Wonder Woman again, which is fucking amazing because what he did with Wonder Woman was great. So I'm really excited about this. I know. I don't know how you guys feel about the rest of it, but it's gonna be, Archie's gonna be in there, or no, I'm sorry, not Archie. My bad. It's gonna be right now. What we know is the Trinity is who is in the Black Label, right?
Yep.
All right. So what do you guys think about it? Because I'll let you guys go about your Batmans and your Wonder Woman before we actually talk about the greatest superhero ever. But yeah, y'all can go.
It's actually funny is I'm going to start with him first. I think I am. One of the things. One of the all I want to talk about is I'll give a good first impression is my plan.
Okay.
Just for me, Black Label. Like just reading about it, I'm actually really excited. I'm not the biggest DC fan, but one of the biggest things is I do appreciate a lot of there are some there's still fantastic stories. DC is DC for a reason. There's some fantastic stories that have been done by DC.
Right.
And what's interesting is, at least from what I've read about it, it seems like it's some of they're talking about is when they're talking about when they take their talent and they let them do whatever they want with these characters. I don't know if these are going to be out of continuity, like if they're going to be canon or not. But if they're not canon, I'm really interested because, like they were saying, there's some of their best stories that come from that. And one of the like Mark Millar, I think is one of his what brought me into him. I think one of his greatest stories I read was the Superman Red Sun.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was fantastic. It was one of the first things that I read by him, and I've been like that's why I've always drawn to his stuff is when he's able to do when he's at his best, he's at best. And I think if Black Label taps into that for across the board for all these all their heroes is like kind of like these reimaginings or kind of these not necessarily but like letting their writers and artists do what they really want with these heroes, I think they can create some fantastic, amazing stories. So I am excited. That's for everyone. Like that's for every hero because, like I said, I don't necessarily think that it's the heroes. It's if a well-written story make any hero interesting and readable. So. I'm excited.
That's true.
See where it goes.
Yeah. You know how like when Marvel does something, they usually like they change it into the comics, right? So since DC isn't doing like a whole interconnected movie world anymore, they're just gonna do a whole bunch of Elseworld movies per se.
Right.
Yep.
I think they're like paving the way to see how people react to that with Black Label, and I think that's what it's gonna be. It's gonna be like their Elseworlds line, 2.0, where they're just gonna be like stories outside of continuity. Because I guess it's easier like that because it's a lot easier to just throw a story and be like, hey, you don't have to read anything else, just read this. Kind of like with White Knight, with the success of White Knight, with what's
really
been going on with
it's
that, right?
Really good, yeah.
And the popularity of that, I mean, DC is probably just doing the whole, okay, well, if you have a story for Batman, let's do it, rather than trying to shoehorn it into a continuity and continue it and just like not make the stories make sense. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that way, at least they still make money off of. Because at the moment, DC's like not putting out as many titles as Marvel. Marvel's putting out like 60 titles a month.
They need to calm it down.
Yeah, DC kind of slowed down. I think it's something where they've really slowed down to concentrate on what's really selling for them, and that's not a bad thing. It's just you keep your core readers but on my thoughts on Black Labels, I'm very excited. I think some of the the team ups is really awesome. One of the team ups is one of their Batman stories that they're doing is what's it called? What's his name? The guys who did The guys who did the Joker novel, Brian
Oh,
Azzarello.
Batman
Lee
Damned.
Bermejo.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
yes,
Batman Damned.
yes.
Yeah.
So I am not the biggest Batman fan, but after I read that Joker
Yeah.
novel, I'm like I am all in for that. I'm
Yeah.
excited to see. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh no, same thing for me. I mean, like I haven't picked up Wonder Woman since like New 52, right?
Whoa.
And well, I tried to get with the whole. Well, that's a lie because I tried to do the whole every other issue thing with Greg Rucka,
Mm-hmm.
and I wasn't feeling it.
Okay, but
Right.
you should pick that novel up or trade
So
because that is a
so the thing with Wonder Woman, the way that Greg Rucka wrote it, it's just that it reads better as a paperback, as a trade. So like waiting every other month to continue with like a story, and then I have to like, okay, so this doesn't go with this last issue, it goes with the previous issue before that. Uh, and then meanwhile, trying to keep up with everything else that was going on in Rebirth and everything,
Mhm.
I gave up on like Wonder Woman like in what was it, like the sixth issue or something.
mm, I can see how that could
So
get frustrating.
seeing that, uh, yeah. So what's her name? The one that wrote Captain Marvel, Kelly Sue.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, seeing her team up with Bill Jimenez, I was like, okay, looks like I'm picking up Wonder Woman again. So this is just like a really good thing for like people who don't read characters that they normally wouldn't. This is a Black Label, I guess, helps out in that purpose. Which
Yeah.
side note, did you guys know that Matt Fraction is married to Kelly Sue?
Yeah.
I actually
Because
did not.
they
Yeah.
are. Yeah. They. I think they're sex criminals together. I'm pretty sure that's.
No,
Both of
that's him and Chip Zdarsky.
Oh, that's right. They
Yeah,
did
but
the
it's
title
loosely
together.
yeah, but it was loosely based. Was it Pro?
Sounds right. I'm sure they did something together. I could be
Yeah, I
crazy.
think.
Whatever.
What,
Keep your. I don't want off track.
no, but yeah, I remember finding out when I first picked up Sex Criminals when it first came out. Uh, Matt said it's loosely based on his relationship with his wife, and then around the same time she was coming out with Pretty Deadly.
Hmm.
So I was like, the lady that wrote that's writing Pretty Deadly is loosely based off Sex Criminals. It's so weird.
I am actually excited for
Yeah.
Superman's book by Frank Miller. Was that is that year one or is that what is that?
There you go, bringing in Superman again.
Yeah, we just segued into. Yeah.
I'm sorry, you guys went on about Batman and Wonder Woman. No, but seriously, the artwork.
I brought up Superman in the beginning.
Oh, you did, but we're going to end with Superman
Let's go.
and
Let's go.
keep it going.
All right, go.
But
All
before
right,
we go,
go.
before we
Go.
go into Superman, like let's talk about the artwork cover for that Kelly Sue and Phil Jimenez. Oh, it may not be the artwork for it, but it's just some art. Yo, like yes, I'm definitely gonna pick up that book just for that. If that's the cover, I'm picking up that book just for that. By the way, that's it. End of story. But yeah,
Are you
I'm
huge
sorry,
on
yeah.
John Romita Jr.'s artwork?
now I was talking about Phil Jimenez. The
okay.
cover, the cover for
Yeah,
Wonder
yeah,
Woman.
because he was doing what was he doing? Super Sons.
Yes.
Mm.
He was
Yep.
doing Super Sons, and now that Super Sons is pretty much canceled.
I'm kind of sad.
Oh.
Yeah, I think they're gonna finish off at like issue 16 or whatever, which I think is currently they're like on 14.
That is so
But
sad.
it's not canceled. It's just that the story is just done. But they said they will bring it back later somehow.
They better be teenagers when they bring it back. They better
I don't
be
know,
That
maybe
was
they-
so good.
It was
Maybe.
really good. Or
It was
they
consistently good.
they might be writing
But-
Superboy into Teen Titans. Maybe. I mean,
Maybe they just might bring it back as World's Finest. I don't know.
right. It'd be dope though. It'd be dope. But Frank Miller and John Romita Jr. doing Superman. And I know that if it's it's gonna come out whenever it comes out because we all know Frank Miller. When he decides to write something, it probably is gonna take forever. 3 years before we actually see the end of it. But who knows? I am actually, however, excited for it based off Dark Knight 3 and the way he ended it and what he did with Superman and how he wrote Superman in that one and made a Dark Knight book really about Superman. I thought that was pretty awesome. So I think he can write Superman. So I'm excited to see what he does with that though. So that is pretty much it. Unless you guys have any other news that you want to talk about and something that happened that you guys want to cover indie wise, Ziggy.
No, I think that's it. All I want to talk about. Nope, nothing new, especially for me.
All right. So I guess we can go into this week in comics.
All right.
Yeah, let's talk about this couple weeks or about a month.
Yeah, we have. I'm gonna be able to cover 2 weeks. That's all. That's what I have for now.
Oh man, I have enough for just a week because I've really actually I have enough for 2 weeks, but I'm only gonna talk about a couple. But yeah, who wants to kick this one off? Vito, Ziggy?
I can do it.
Okay, I was about to say, don't all go at once.
All right. So, just going for my first one, I want to talk about is Doctor Strange Damnation. I don't know if I talked about number 2. I read it came out. I don't know if I talked about number 1 when it first came out. But that's but basically it's that's one I'm enjoying. It's coming off of Donny Cates Doctor Strange run. He's returned. Doctor Strange has regained the mantle as Sorcerer Supreme. So spoilers for people who didn't know, he lost it for a temporary amount of time. But he gained it back, and his first action to kind of make things right. He wants to be a hero for people, and his first thing is out of what came out of Secret Empire. If people remember, is Las Vegas got basically.
I remember this one. You talked about this one on.
Sure. Yes. Okay, I did talk about number 1.
Yes.
So, Secret Empire, Las Vegas had been destroyed, and Doctor Strange brings it back and brings back all the people who died. And there is a definite cost with that, right? So Mephisto hell is literally on Earth, and he is taken Vegas. And basically, the last part we end up on Doctor Strange Damnation. Number 1 is Doctor Strange is not in a good place. He has tried his attempt to outsmart Mephisto and has failed. And Wong, like always, has to come in and save him. And he gathers a group of kind of mystical heroes to help drive back Mephisto. We have Iron Fist, Moon Knight, Ella Bloodstone, Blade, Brother Voodoo, Ghost Rider. I think that is everyone, but I might have been forgetting someone, but forgive me if I have. But yeah, it continues on. It's really good. I really continue to enjoy it. That one I really like. It's kind of like a nice kind of like Midnight Suns sort of story, and I always like Midnight Suns. So I really enjoy it. I think that it's coming out of this is really interesting. How Keats writes supernatural stories super well, and I continue to enjoy this one. That's the one I highly recommend for people to pick up. All you really need to do is you can pick up from Doctor Strange. It's fine, or Doctor Strange Damnation number 1. There'll be a little bit of backstory from Doctor Strange, but you don't need to. Another one I want to talk about is Black Panther 170. That came out. Still enjoying that. Ta-Nehisi Coates does exploring such in a world where they're literally gods. You can see the pushback between two different beliefs, and it's explored through the Wakanda's mythology, and I really like where he's going with it. It's really fun and interesting, and it's more. Well, I said the beginning of the Black Panther was more kind of a super political story. This one's kind of far more superhero story, or battling between literally gods and mystical enemies. So I enjoyed that one. And then
a question on that real quick.
Yeah.
So I picked up Ta-Nehisi Coates when Black Panther, when Ta-Nehisi Coates first started writing it.
Yep.
And I guess because he's from another world per se. Yeah. When he's not from the comic book world.
Yeah. Yep.
His first issue was extremely wordy. Is it still wordy?
It it still is if you're like it's still on the probably more wordy side of comic books, but I definitely think he learned better as he's gone to it. His pacing's
Jesus.
gone better. He realized that like you can't write a whole novel in a comic book.
I
Uh,
know. Like when I first was reading it, it took
yep.
me like 3 tries to read one issue. And then
And
when they announced
yep.
that he's like going to Captain America, I was like, well, I'm dropping Captain America now.
Wow! Wow!
He's like
Wow!
he's like really wordy, man.
Honestly, I feel personally attacked right now. All this like saying is just yeah, it's still going to be on the more wordy side of comic books. But I think he finds a nice kind of medium where he likes to use dialogue to drive the like character, like to explore the characters driven, how their beliefs and what they like conflict between them and how they agree and disagree. So I think there is going to be wordy, but I definitely think he finds a nice medium. Especially lately, the more issues, like I said, it feels more of a superhero story right now, and I'm enjoying it. It's still if it feels like he's still doing what he wants to do is like explore the Wakanda's world and like add more detail to it. But I think he definitely finds a way to like if you keep going, I he drops as much so like he drops slows down the wordiness in a way and brings more of the action and more of like showing rather than talking to like the story. So that's one I would say like give it a try, see how you feel. Go like I said, go a few issues in, and I tell people with any comic is not every comic's for everyone. Just because a good comic's a good comic doesn't mean it's for every person. Everyone has a
Yeah.
different taste and that what they like and what they don't like. So, give it a few issues try. If you like it, it's cool. If you don't like it, it's cool. But for if you can like for people who have read it and have and enjoy how like aren't pushed away from how much dialogue he puts in it, I think it's still a good one to recommend. But yeah, keep trying. Get at least a few issues. And then the last one I want to talk about is, like I said, I'm just like a Kate's fanboy apparently right now because I won't talk about Doctor Strange 386. That's another one I was going to talk. But I'll talk about Thanos 16, a life left in the universe that still stands against him. And as we learn more and more what still stands against him, we find out why our Thanos that we know is brought to the future and why future Thanos needs help. We get to see basically a Silver Surfer who is hell bent on killing Thanos, and he's brought the Annihilation Wave, and it's really interesting. It's really like I said, I like the cosmic grand scheme stuff, and he does really well with this one. And really, if you're like a fan of Thanos, if you want to see what the character's like, I definitely recommend that series. It's like this is issue 16, so you can probably grab some trades and catch up. Definitely recommend it. This last issue is still going strong. Yeah, that's my recommendation of the week. I have other things that I've read, but I don't want to just keep talking. I'll let you guys talk.
Yeah, I've been reading. Well, I haven't been reading. I also picked up Thanos as well. I picked up. I wanted to see what all the hubbub was. Well, no, not hubbub, but Donny Cates he's on a roll, man. He's
Yes.
done like God Country. He's done Redneck. What
Baby
else?
Teeth.
Baby Teeth. Right. So like, so when they said, hey, he's writing for Thanos, I was like, okay, I should have been reading Thanos already because Jeff Lemire was writing it, but I'm gonna see what this is, what all the hubbub is, and see what he can do with like a character like that. I mean, because granted, all those other titles that we just named were all indie stuff. So we might, I don't know, maybe just indie stuff might be his thing and not just superhero, or there's a superhero genre. So I picked up 13, and then they showed the whole Cosmic Ghost Rider, and I was like, the hell is this? This is so. This is great. You have a Ghost Rider that like he acts like Deadpool.
Yep. Oh god, I love that character. That's such a oh god. Yeah. Oh, you keep going.
But no, so like I picked up, and then I picked up I was like, oh, okay, I'll go back to the store and pick up 14. I haven't been. I didn't like 2-3 weeks passed by, and then 14 was sold out. 15 came out, and then 15 sold out. I was like, damn, I guess I'm not the only one then. So like I had to settle for like the second printings for the others, but I've been picking up Thanos even though I've been falling behind on it. And just from that one issue, I'm hoping I can like binge on it, and I guess that will be like better for me.
I recommend it.
Yeah. Anything else did you read?
Me? Oh,
Yeah.
I've like I said, I've read a lot of things, but if you guys have other recommendations, I don't want to just keep talking. I know,
Okay.
like,
We talk about Oblivion Song because we both
mm,
picked that. We both
yes.
read that.
Oh yeah, actually no, that's another one I recommend. But I'll let you talk about it.
Okay. So, all right. Probably the only. All right. So, Robert Kirkman is back at it again, right? And I'm not big on. I'm not big on like zombie stuff. So I'm
Yep.
glad this isn't zombie stuff. And I'm currently also reading Outcast that he's written, and that's amazing. So I figured, okay, let me pick this up. I mean, it's not zombies, it's him. I want to pick it up. So I went in blind, not knowing what it is. So I'm reading it, and the whole time I'm reading it, I'm like having a whole bunch of questions, and that's when you know it's a good story because you're actually interested. You care enough to
Yeah.
actually question what's going on,
Yeah.
and then you have a sense with you, yeah, you connect inadvertently, like not from the beginning, but you connect with like the main character and why he's doing this, and then you see that everyone's pretty much going up against him. So you ever wonder, you wonder, is he really doing this for for his brother, or is he really doing it for like the greater good?
Mm.
And then the ending I really enjoyed. The Bolivian song was really good, and I like how they incorporated the title within the I was gonna say dialogue, but the whole conversation, the diagram, I mean the dialogue in the story, so you get an idea of what a Bolivian song means.
Yeah. The ending was left me at that. A comic. Basically, my rule of thumb is for a comic is if you leave at the end of the issue being like, I want to know what happens next, you have something there, and
Yeah.
that's where I think Oblivion Song Kirkman did it. Did it again. He hit me with the like at the end. I sat there being like, I want to know what's happened next, and so I'm for this ride. I'm on it. Let's see where it goes.
Okay.
Yeah. So Mo, you didn't pick that one up, did you?
No, I haven't. I haven't. The Roach by Robert Roach was the indie I picked up this week, and it was really good. I really enjoyed it. I wanted to do a review for it. Robert Roach is one of the guys we interviewed for our This Week in Comics panel last month. The art is fantastic. The writing is fantastic. If you guys like Sin City, if you guys like Dick Tracy novels, if you guys like anything noir, like I will tell you right
Noir.
now, yeah, huh?
I love noir.
Yeah, if you guys love noir, this is the novel for you to read. And the thing about it is, it's in black and white, but it's not like Sin City's black with white outlines for the characters. It's actually
Yeah.
like on. It happens most of the novel or the comic book happens at night, but even when you see the day shots, it's still very black and white. And it's still very rich. The art is very rich. The story is about cleaning up Chicago's gangsters. It's about an assassin who cleans up Chicago's. It's pretty good, man. It's pretty good. I don't want to talk too much about the story. I just want you guys to know that it's really, really good. And I want you guys to. I'm gonna pass it off to you guys. And then decide, and then we can decide on what we want to do, on how we want to give it to a winner or someone, because this is one of the ones we're going to send out to listeners of the podcast. So I wanted you guys to read it and talk about it a little bit before.
So understand that, dear listeners, that whatever lucky one of you that gets it, all of us will have had our sweaty hands all over it. So look forward to that.
Yes.
I completely oversimplified what the story was gonna be called. I mean, you said Roach, something to die for. I thought it was gonna be something like an animated Roach, like in his daily life or whatever, trying to survive.
No. It's really good, and it's
or whatever, something like shirtless bear fighter, right?
yes,
Yep.
yes. Oh, I love that one.
Oh my god, that
I love that book. I love that book.
It's a good comic, guys.
It's a
That's
really
a good
good
comic,
comic.
guys. Trust us.
Yes, but
We
the
know
Roach,
comics.
yes. The Roach is
I thought it was
actually
gonna be
very
like
adult
super
though. It's
cartoony.
very mature. It's not, and that's one thing I wasn't expecting. I wasn't expecting it to be as mature as it was, but it is very, very mature. It's very, very grown up. This is, again, comic books. Kids do get their hands on comic books, but this is one of the ones that is rated M, I believe, or T for teen or whatever. Moving forward, it's not for everyone. But yeah, it's really good. Yeah. So, what else do you want to talk about? Because I did, however, read, DC guy over here. I did go into a lot of other DC properties. Did you guys want me to go ahead and drop my recommendations for what I read this week?
Yeah.
Alright, so in addition to the Roach, I read Saga 48, and I am loving. You guys understand? I'm loving the relationship between King Robot or whatever his name is, and was
King
it Prince?
Robot the Fourth.
Is it Prince or King?
He was the Prince. At least for where I was. He was
No,
Prince.
No, yeah, it is. It's Prince Robot the Fourth.
Yes, it's Prince. It's Prince Robot.
His king is
Robot.
the older one.
The dad. Yeah. So it's
the
Prince.
Big screen guy.
Yes. So it's Prince and Petri. I'm just gonna call her short, Petri or whatever her name is. Their relationship is so amazing and it's so weird and it's so we get another level of their relationship in Saga 48 and it's like wow. And in 47 when it ended, we saw the bounty hunter. He was captured by someone who who had killed her husband or her fiance or something.
Yeah, the Will.
Yes, and the Will. She was using him to find our heroes and whatnot. And so
I want to zone out because I'm not all the way caught up.
Oh, I'm sorry. You know what?
Going.
I'll just stop. I'll just stop there. But
Going.
anyways, this one we get to see. So we get to see that happens and they're almost found, and then the newspaper guys offer our heroes a way out. They decide against it, and Prince Robot hears it, and because he's really in love with Petri, and he pretty much said, "I will give you." I'm sorry.
Yeah, you also have to add to the fact that he explains something that happens to him when there's like an overwhelming emotion.
Yes.
Like his scream blurts out something, even if he means it or not.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
He mentions that sometimes he'll mean it, sometimes he doesn't. It's just that his people aren't used to overwhelming
emotions, pretty much. But I honestly believe he meant it in this instance. I really think he meant it. Anyways, but yeah, so that happens, and because of his love for Petri, he decides to use some information he had. I'm not going to spoil because in case you haven't read it, he decided to use some information he had to buy a new life for them. What's her name's? What's our hero's daughter was kind of like. I'm sorry.
Hazel.
Yes, she was evil. She was really mean today, or in
yeah, she was just being a kid.
No, she was very mean.
Well, kids are assholes.
Yo,
kids are assholes.
What she said to Prince Robot's son, I was like, wow. I was shocked. I was like, yeah, that's kind of deep. But yeah, so that Saga 48 was really good. If you haven't, you guys need to catch up to Saga because it's really, really good. Wherever it's going now, it's really, really good. What else? So I read that and Batman White Knight #6. I read that. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but the end of White Knight #6, yes. That's all I'm going to say is fuck yes. Did you read it?
I did, and I've been at war with the story, if I like it or not, basically. Like, I have not been sure. Like, I appreciate Sean Murphy, but I swear this guy hates heroes. And so it was very interesting to see where he was going with this one. And I don't want to talk about it because I like too much because I don't want to spoil things, but he finally got me. Finally, I would say, you did it, Sean Murphy. Tell me how the story ends. I'm saying your story, depending how it ends, is a good one. Got me to read 6 issues, or how many issues are we in now?
6.
Yeah, 6 issues of this story. So
yeah,
I guess it's stated.
Yeah, there's
It's
only 2
good.
issues left.
Yeah, at this point, if I would be like, I still don't think the story is good, I'm like, I just don't admit Sean Murphy got me into like one of the stories.
No, but this is the best breaking or breakdown of a hero I've ever seen. This is how you break down a hero. You take his worst villain and you reform the villain and you use the villain against him, and in a different way, and you make the hero seem like the bad. Like everything Batman has done in this book has made him seem like the bad guy. It's just amazing. It's amazingly written. All the characters are written well. Gordon is what I really like about Gordon is how fed up he is at this point. Because in the beginning he was like on Batman's side, and at some point he was like, I'm fed up. Like he's like, what, we might as well, and like he wanted to unmask him. I mean, there's so much, and then there's, I think it was in 5 where what's his face, Bruce and Nightwing, or Batman and Nightwing kind of almost come to blows, and you see Batgirl kind of do a flip on Batman. I was like, whoa, what the hell? Like this is really good. This book is this story is really, really good, and I'm enjoying it. So I'm not gonna talk too much about number 6, but I am gonna say something. That end though. That last panel, I was like, because I'm like, where I was right there with Ziggy, because at this point you've done what you've done. Where are you gonna go with this to end this? And boom, I was not expecting what I saw. But so if you've not been reading White Knight, we are asking you to pick it up. Even Ziggy has said, I didn't really like it, but at this point, I'm all the way here.
I gotta
What's
admit,
up?
I like it. It's some for a story that's gone to me. It's like, I think I don't like anyone in the story, but I think that, and that's in a good. No, that's a lie. Batgirl is the only true good person in this goddamn story.
You know what?
And that's why I like.
No. What about Harley? No, not.
Harley too.
Yes.
Harley too. I think Harley gets like. I think she just cares about Jack. So
yes.
So I think she's getting pulled along. It's because it's what I like about the story is it's not so simple as like the Joker's the good guy and Batman's the bad guy. Like we see the story of like how can we see like which is still interesting how the superhero could be the bad guy, but it's not even so simple as that. It's like how everyone is flawed, and it's so interesting. Like I said, Mo's already talked about it. I recommend it too.
I'm pretty sure Vito is going to recommend it.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. And the last one I want to talk about is Silencer. This is an interesting one because this is one of the ones that came out from the Dark Knight Metal, DC Metal series. If you guys don't know about Silencer, because if you guys have been reading any DC book, at the end of for the last month and a half or 2 months, they've been teasing the stories of some of these characters, and Silencer was one I thought she's at number 2 at this point. Number 1 I thought was really good. We kind of see, because at first I'm like, so what is her story? She's an assassin. What is her story? She has powers, and her power is called the Silent Zone, where she shushes or snap. No, she shushes, and it creates a bubble where no sound leaves that bubble, so it filters all the sound into the no sound leaves the bubble. You can't, so if anything is happening, no one can hear anything out of it. And I thought it was really cool, the first issue, and the way the first issue ended with Talia al Ghul coming in, and and the thing about it is she's trying to live a normal life now, but then nothing about her life is normal. Her normal life, she's trying to live this normal life, but then you have her old life coming back, with Talia coming back to warn her about this war coming that's gonna cause major upheaval to her current life. And all she wants to do right now is fight to protect that life. And the first issue and the second issue, we've seen that. I'm interested in seeing where this is going to go or how far this is going to go. But I really like the character Silencer. I think it's something where we could even at one point see Batman come into the story. That's what DC does anyways. Batman goes into everybody's story. So I wouldn't be surprised.
Secretly, that's what you wanted.
Batman everywhere. I'm waiting for the day we see a Batman Deadpool crossover, and I just decide to just quit everything.
No, but that's the next couple Marvel refreshes or restarts is gonna be Batman and the
Yeah.
X-Men, and that's
Yep.
it. And that's
Yep.
gonna be it right there, and
That's
we're
what
done.
sounds right.
Hey, Batman sells.
Right? It's like they're just gonna go to DC. Hey, we're about to refresh our comic books. Can we borrow Batman for a second? Batman and Blade, Batman and Wolverine, Batman and Old Man Logan. Hey, no, but seriously, I could see in this because of the characters in this book. Talia al Ghul is in here. I can see how Batman can come into this
Yep.
eventually at some point. But I hope for now, early in the story, we just want to kind of see them flesh out the Silencer story as opposed to bringing
Yep.
Batman. So that's it for me. So the Roach, if you guys want to know more, I'm going to do a review for it. So I'll post that on the channel eventually.
Any
I
of
started-
you guys read the Terrifics?
Oh yes,
I never got that one sold up before I got to read it.
Yes,
Really?
It's
Yeah, I had
really
to. Well,
good.
that's yeah. I ended up having to go to like a third comic book shop to go pick it up because the first two places were already sold out. So I was curious about that. That came out last week, right?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
if you want to talk about it, go for it, man.
Well, I haven't. I clearly said I haven't
Oh,
read it
you
yet.
haven't read it yet. Oh, okay. Nah, but that's so. You know what? I'm not gonna even touch on that yet. I'm not gonna touch on that. But I'm gonna say everyone should. You know, these books coming out of the metal are really good. Like Sideways, I thought was really interesting. His story is very interesting.
He's the only story so far to actually talk about metal.
Gotham,
person.
yes, because he.
Yeah, that's probably from Gotham. He fell in one of those little valleys.
Yeah, so
when the mountain showed up.
yeah. No. I think the new not the Terrifics, the other guys, because there's 3 groups, right?
The Challengers.
The
Hasn't come
Challengers,
out yet.
or is it Frontiers Men or something Men? I forget what their name is. It's Challengers. Terrifics, and I know it's one more group. I might be wrong. Am I wrong?
I think so.
Okay. All right.
Were you wrong? I mean, you're always wrong, but
You know what? I'm gonna do research, and so by the time we do the next This Week in Comics, I'll be like, no, I wasn't. It's okay though. I'll come back on this one. I will be back for this one. I know I'm not wrong. There's one more group that I'm missing. Anyway, so that's all I have to talk about. Do you guys want to cover anything or add anything, Vito?
Any of y'all read Gideon Falls?
Nope.
I did not get to read that one. Did you get to read it?
Yeah, I get it. I read it. It's of course it's Jeff Lemire, and I also have a thing for Andrea Sorrentino's artwork. Like the reason why I got all right. So when New 52 happened, Green Arrow was a character I wanted to get into. I couldn't really get into it, and then right when I was about to drop him, Jeff Lemire and Andrea Sorrentino team up at issue 17 and completely like made it one of my favorite DC titles, right? And then they stopped, and then Green Arrow sucked again.
Wow.
And then they were together in Old Man Logan, right? They had their own little run in Old Man Logan. That was really good. So I like when they team up. So I figured once I saw, I wasn't gonna pick it up, and then I saw that it was Jeff Lemire and Andrea Sorrentino together. I was like, okay, I want to. Again, I'll pick this up. And I read it, and it gives me like. Have y'all ever read Preacher?
Yes.
Yeah. I've read a little bit of Preacher.
Okay, so it gives me like the same vibe as Preacher, because it's about a guy who's going to. There's two stories going on over here, right? And I don't know if they're gonna like run parallel with each other, because they don't show any hints to it, but it is somehow connected. So one guy is visiting a psychiatrist. He's finding like nails, and he's finding these specific rocks all over town, and he's telling the psychiatrist, "Look, this is. Do you believe in evil? But not like an evil. I'm talking about like an evil as an entity. Like there is like an evil being around here somewhere." So he talks to her about it, and then he later on admits to himself that while he's writing in his diary, that he really didn't want to tell her the whole truth because she might think that he's crazy and have her committed again, right? So he's like on this project to find this evil entity that's lurking around in the town somewhere. Meanwhile, there's a priest that just got sent to Gideon Falls. So he's a father, and he meets the lady that's in charge of like the choir and everything, and you see that she has a hook for one of her arms, right? And then he was like, "So what happened with the last priest?" And they're like, "Oh, you didn't know? I thought that they would have told you." And then she starts getting all quiet about it. He was like, "Well, you don't have to tell me. It's fine, right?" So you're wondering what's going on, and then the priest goes to sleep later on that night. He wakes up, and apparently, the priest that was supposed to be dead is in his room covered in blood. And he was like, "What are you doing here? I knew you were still alive. There's holes in your story." And then that person said, the dead priest says, "Follow me." Before I don't have that much time. So he's running off into the field, and then the priest gets up and follows him, and he loses him in a cornfield. And then right when he stops walking around, that old lady that was part of the church that greeted him or whatever with the hook has that hook like severed into her, and she's like dead as fuck on the grass, and that's how it ends.
Dead as fuck.
Damn.
So I was like, holy shit, this is actually really good.
Okay, I gotta give a look.
Yeah, definitely gotta give a look.
Yeah.
I really miss these episodes and miss doing this because we actually do talk about a lot of comic books, and I have picked up a bunch of comic books because of these episodes, and I'm pretty sure people that listen actually do pick up comic books off this episode. But to be honest, I've missed you guys, man. I've missed these episodes, so I'm finally glad the Trinity, is together. Superman, Batman, and but I'm finally glad the Trinity's back together.
Wonder Man.
Pretty much.
Women's Appreciation Day, we changed the name to Wonder Man.
or we could call it. You know what? We could do the Arrowverse Trinity because I believe the new Arrowverse Trinity is Arrow, Flash, and Black Lightning.
Hey man, I would take the Wonder Woman title. If we're going by the DC movies, I'm killing it. You two need to catch up.
Oh man, I'm not sure I'm gonna get another movie for like another 10 years, so it's okay. Yeah, so that's this week in comics. That's it. That's all the comics we got.
Wait, Infinity Countdown. Anybody care about that?
I think Vito. Yeah, not Vito. Sorry, Ziggy. We was talking about that. I think a couple weeks ago.
What did you think?
I picked it up. I did pick it up. But go ahead. I'm sorry. Didn't mean to cut you off. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I really don't know. I mean, if it's $5 each issue, then I'm not going to continue it.
It's fair. It's very fair. I'm interested in it because I do like the Marvel. Like I said, I've always been a big fan of Marvel's cosmic stuff, and I'm curious what they do, how the story plays out.
The problem is that for somebody who doesn't, or to say like if somebody's like, oh, okay, well, the Infinity War is about to come out.
Yeah.
I want to see something that they clearly put this out with the word infinity on it so that way they can get new readers onto it, right?
Yep.
Problem is that Jerry Dugan's an amazing writer. I mean, his stuff with Deadpool was really good, and from what I hear, his stuff with Guardians of the Galaxy was really good. But the thing is that you have to read Guardians of the Galaxy to understand what the hell is going on and why they're fighting in the beginning, because like 90% of this stuff is the Guardian stuff.
Yep. It comes off, the problem with this was, I would say, is that's what I would say is it comes really hard off of you knowing what's been going on with specifically like Guardians. And so for people who are coming into it, it's a real hard sell for a series that says at issue 1, when really this is Guardians of the Galaxy point 1, like this could be very well be a point issue basically of a series of the Guardians of the Galaxy. There are other characters that are introduced, or not introduced, but who are part of the story that have to do the story. But again, even that's really hard. Like for a new person coming in, a lot of people are like, okay, apparently Wolverine's black. I'm confused about that. Yeah, like there's so many things like because we get to see where all the stones are, but these stones are all based off again other comics. So if you're not following those comics, you don't necessarily need it to be able to follow for it picks up, but it does feel like there's a lot left out. So we'll see how it goes. I do want to see how much it plays is because yeah, the first issue like plays a lot into the Guardians of the Galaxy. And also it's we. One of my coworkers pointed. It's like isn't this like the third issue one of this series? Because we had the Adam Warlock Infinity, then we had Infinity Prime. Now we had Infinity Countdown. It's there's a lot of side issues you need for the series just to get started.
And I'm looking at it right. So it goes to number 2 and then number 3, but then it goes to from 3 to Captain Marvel to Daredevil to Darkhawk.
Yep.
And so now I'm over here thinking like, do I have to pick those up in order to understand what's going on? Because it's kind of like Metal.
I hope it goes towards like Metal style. Is you get to read like main issues, it'd be fine. You would do want to kind of like read like the Batman Red Death and those kind of ones. But if you just want to read the Batman Metal ones, you didn't have to read like all the tie-in.
No, you didn't. You didn't.
You didn't have to read the Nightwing ones or Suicide. It's cool because you got more explanation. Like so, you can see how like what happened in between certain things. But more or less, you didn't really need to read them. And I'm hoping that's how this plays out. But knowing Marvel's track record, it's probably not going to happen. So I'll keep my fingers crossed.
How'd you feel about Groot talking?
Groot's such an interesting character because for a person like me I'm not upset about it. I'm curious where the view of it, but the Groot has such a change that like Guardians themselves have changed a lot. Their characters have changed. As much Drax has like people want to like see they see Drax in the Guardians Galaxy and see Drax. Drax was dumber than that. He was purely like a cosmic version of the Hulk for the longest time. That guy said like 3 words, and that was it. Like I pushed that. So
like we've seen he was fucking hilarious in this one.
Yeah, the Drax has changed a lot. So and Groot has been a cool guy, like a kind of dumb, kind of cool, really smart, very smart. He's been an asshole. There was literally a point where Groot was like a snobby asshole, but you only heard it as I am Groot, and he would just have like people react to him like he's a dick. It was weird. Groot's personality has changed so much, and I'm like, all right, this is the new version of Groot. Let's keep going. So let's see where it goes. That's where basically where I'm at with Groot talking. I'm actually really curious how they play that up. It's going to change the biggest sort of like cool is going to be the dynamic between him and Rocket change. So we'll see how that plays off.
Interesting. Well, so Guardians of the Galaxy pick up, don't pick up. Maybe,
Infinity Countdown #1.
I'm sorry, my bad. Infinity Countdown.
Oh yeah. If you know, I would recommend. I would say pick it up. It's weird.
That's the hardest recommendation that Ziggy's ever done. Ziggy straight up says pick it up.
If you like Infinity stuff already, pick it up. If you're coming off as a fresh reader, I would say probably not, because it does have a lot of it. It's based off if you're already interested. If you're coming off like you said, coming out if you're getting interested because of the movies and you've never read anything before, don't do it. Just skip it. Go watch the movie.
Or
wait till it wraps up. When it wraps up, as it clicked.
I was gonna say you just read it at the comic book store, and that way you can actually ask somebody who works there what the hell's going on.
It's fair.
Right.
That's too.
Right.
That's true.
Right. So, anything else? And keep them coming.
I don't want to keep going on, but there are other few other ones that are again I think that fit on the same Infinity Countdown, like kind of like good, but not on my top tier recommendations. Okay. Wiccan Divine 34 was another one that came out that I enjoyed. That one's basically that's at like age around 16, everyone gets reincarnated like in gods in its cycle, and by the time they're 18, they die. And that one's continuing going well. I don't want to give too much of the story for people who haven't, but that one's still going well. I'm curious. We're going towards what's looking towards the wrapping up the series. So let's see. I'm curious to see how a story ends. A lot of times stories start off well, they have a good midpoint, and then they're ending bombs. So far we're going off well, but we'll see how the story goes. The other one, last other one, I would also another in that tier is did anyone read the Mirror #1?
No.
No.
I enjoy that. Like I said, from a person who's not really DC, I do like Aquaman stories.
Oh, I did pick it up, but I never read it. I want to read it because I'm sorry. Didn't mean to cut you off. I want to read it because the way Aquaman was it 20. Well, the last Aquaman, the way that ended, and with the promise of Mera, being of Mera becoming the queen of Atlantis, becoming the ruler of Atlantis. I want to read that. I want to understand how they're going to go into that, and are they going to tie it into Aquaman? Is she going to be tied into Aquaman, or is she going to do her own thing? So you've read it, please.
Yep.
Yes.
Yes. So I don't give too much, but it does kind of I haven't been keeping up with Aquaman, so I don't know too much of it. But picking off what I could get is Mira is now the is the queen of Atlantis, but there's still kind of a civil war. It seems to be a split between and as far as I know, Aquaman's in exile. She picks up she's actually lost the ability to be in water right now. So because she got magically wounded, so she actually can't be in water because she can't breathe underwater. And so it just basically starts off with her in that scenario where she's trying to establish that she's now the new queen of Atlantis, and her more or less dealing with the surfer dwellers, getting the Justice League and the UN recognize her as the new queen of Atlantis and to trust her. Even though Atlantis always becomes it's kind of it's the same thing as Wakanda and Atlantis in Marvel. Mm-hmm. So it's a nation that's so powerful but so unknown to the world that everyone's kind of scary, and they're having to trust her to be hey, trust me, I know things look bad right now, but I'm going to do it, and I need to be the person who does it, because if you guys step in, it's just going to create more strife that Atlanteans will feel like they're being conquered by surfer dwellers. So if anyone's going to save my people, it has to be me.
Right.
And so that's where it goes. And there's another little underlying story going on. Because I don't. It seems that I don't know the character's name. I can't forget, but it seems like it'd be a newer introduced character that she's having the war for Atlantis with. Well, the other thing about it is, I don't want to spoil it, but a long-term Aquaman villain is looking to throw his hat back into the race for king or queen of Atlantis, and I'm really curious to see where it goes. I actually is another one. It's I'm curious where it goes. It got me at least interested to read the next one, so we'll see where it goes.
Yeah. The thing about that is, if you haven't read Aquaman, there's a lot going on in Aquaman that leads into that. But the way you make it seem is it's its own comic enough that if you haven't been reading Aquaman, you can still understand what's going on in this book without having to go back and read 10, 12 issues of Aquaman. So I really like that whole idea where it's still its own separate book enough to where they kind of bridge some of the stories, together, but it's, you can read it on its own without reading.
Yeah, it's definitely a one. Yeah, what you're saying. But basically, I was just agreeing with you. Sorry, didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah, no, it's cool because while Aquaman was in exile, she was a part of the Justice League. She had joined the Justice. She took his place with the Justice League, and she'd been doing a lot of surface stuff. And so it's very interesting because the sea was separated from. Yeah, it's something where if you are interested in that story enough, you should go back and read the last maybe 10 issues of Aquaman to really understand what's going on. But you don't have to because of how you set it up or because of how it's set up. But yeah. I really like it. It sounds like something I'm definitely gonna I have it. It sounds like something I'm definitely gonna have to read now.
Yeah, it's definitely worth reading, and like you said, Bo, it's very much for people who have not read any Aquaman. You can pick it up and be able to follow along. It does really well to explain the current situation.
Nice. All right, so that's it. Vito, you got one more, or you
no, that was it. Yeah, I'm done.
Oh, all right then. All right, cool. So yeah, the Trinity's back, and we finally dropped a very very rich episode of This Week in Comics. We actually did news on This Week in Comics, which is something we've never really done. But we did news, and we talked about Marvel's 18th or 50th refresh that they're doing this year. We talked about DC's Black Label, and we talked about the Trunks. Like, we had a whole conversation about Trunks. You guys, well, I had a whole conversation with myself about Trunks, and these guys just having to chime in. Yeah, so This Week in Comics was really good. We dropped a lot of comic book knowledge for you and a lot of stuff that we recommend for you guys to pick up. I really enjoyed this episode because, finally again, myself, Vito, and Ziggy are actually here to do one for you guys. So I don't have anything else to say other than you can catch this episode on iTunes, Stitcher, iTunes, Stitcher. You know what? I do this so much, but I always mess up on this. So let's try this again. iTunes, Stitcher, Podbean, Pocket Cast, TuneIn, Google Play Music, and Audio Mac. You can catch us on the website, earth2cc.com, or on YouTube at Earth2 Comic Cast. Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. You can reach out to us if you like any recommendations, or if you have something you want us to read and talk about on the show. You can definitely shoot us on Earth2 Comic Cast, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and let us know what you're reading, and let us know if you'd like for us to read it and talk about it if we haven't talked about it. Again, thank you guys for listening. I am glad I had my the fellas to do this with me. Ziggy, Vito, thank you very much.
Glad to be here. You did it. Oh, did it.
Yes.
Mess up.
Yes.
Got through it.
Have a good night and catch you on the next one. Peace.
See you, people.